We can sit for 4 minutes. Are you guys having a good wizard roll?
Yeah.
Yeah? How many of you, this is your first time to a convention? Yeah?
Nice.
Awesome.
Way to go, Marvel Man.
Very cool. How many times this is their first time to a wizard world? Oh, quite a few people. So the rest of you have already been to Wizard World in general, like Las Vegas. How are you guys? Is it 7th time to a Wizard World? Dang, you make
Sacramento.
let me guess. You went to one in Reno too. Right. I'm from Reno, so. Wow, you went all the way up to Portland?
Portland's a good show.
Is it?
Yeah, I was at that one last year. It was really good.
Oh.
They yeah.
I kind of stay to the Bay area.
Well, they had the people that worked on the Hobbit movies, like the sculptors and stuff, and they had like the big Azog. Oh my god, that thing was sweet. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Dude, I want to go to Portland. Where do I sign up for that trip?
Do you want to just go ahead and get this rolling?
Yeah, we'll get it started. Let's
Let's
a couple more people have built in our arena.
All
I'm
right.
gonna drink some agua here because I've been trying to talk over that music in the dealer's hall all day. So my voice is already starting to go out. I'm like, please don't. Please don't.
That's what microphones are for.
I know. Bless microphones.
Okay, well we can go ahead and get started. I'm sure they're not going to miss our little intros. So I'm Britt Bliss. I'm a cosplayer here. I'm one of the guests. I travel to every wizard, well this year anyway. I do a lot of their Facebook Live interviews, so if you guys ever watched one of those interviews and there's some goofy chick dressed up in a costume asking some strange questions, that's me. I'll be doing that again this weekend and for all the rest of the shows this year. So I've been cosplaying for a couple years now, and this is really bothering me. Okay, all right. So I've been cosplaying for over a couple years now. I started off with a career in modeling. I've shot for like Maxim magazine and other things, and the more I worked in that side of the industry, the more I despised it. I didn't get to embrace like my inner nerd. You know, after the shoot, I'd want to go back and play League of Legends, and nobody got that. Like, what is that? And I'm like, it's a MOBA. They're like, what's a MOBA? And I'm like, I don't know any of you people. So, you know, when I did car shows, and once again, like I'd go home, I'd want to play Nintendo or something, and nobody knew what these games were. And so one of my friends suggested, well, why don't you cosplay? I'm like, what do you mean? Why don't I? What's cosplay? Like, dress up as your favorite characters, you know, you make them, you already know how to sew. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, I do know how to sew. You've been watching me at home, this is kind of creepy. So then I decided to go ahead and start doing it, started coming to shows, and here I am now, and super happy and super fortunate to be able to do something I love, like 7 out of the past 8 weekends. So yeah, that's me.
So I'm Mel. I'm one of the stars. I've been cosplaying since 2004, so what is that, 12 years? It's a long time. I feel very old. But I just kind of started off in the hobby, like everyone else, just started making costumes for fun, and then I started doing a lot of competing, got a bunch of awards and stuff for my stuff, and I kept just kind of pushing it for myself. And I started judging competitions, and then slowly that turned into like, hey, we need a guest for our convention. Do you want to like do that? And I'm like, sure. And then I, on the side, would make like a bunch of small accessories for costumes, doing some commissions. I work as a tailor as well, so I have background in tailoring and professional sewing. And then so now I'm here. I go to different shows throughout the year. Some here in the U.S., some across the globe. Actually, I've been to a lot of crazy places. So you guys have any questions of what cosplay is like in other countries, feel free to ask. And so I just really love crafting costumes, and I want to be able to share that with you guys. So if you guys are ever out on the floor and you're by one of our tables, like feel free to ask us questions. Because
we love questions.
Yeah, Britt sews, I sew, Abby and Keith will be here tomorrow. They craft as well. So like if you guys have any questions on how to make anything, please hit us up. We love talking about our craft and talking shop and like giving you recommendations and help problem solve, because I mean, it is a community, and I like being able to foster that creativity in the community. So,
yeah, see, that's why one of the good things is if you run into one of us like at the booth, and if we for some reason don't know how to do what it is you want to know how to do, we know somebody else at the booth who does know how to do it. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, we sit here and we talk amongst ourselves, where we're like, hey, how'd you make that mask? I don't know how to make masks. And it's like, well, I don't know how to make corsets. And so you like exchange that information. Mm-hmm. And I bet even in this room, some of you know how to do things that the others don't know how to do, and you guys inside this room could even exchange information. Mm-hmm. But we love getting questions at the booth, or if you know, point to a particular costume we made and ask how we did it, we're more than happy to share that info with you. Like, it's why we do it. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely like to share. So, so we were supposed to have a moderator here and kind of like help us guys through this panel, but he is unfortunately unable to make it. So we're going to kind of open this to just a general Q&A. So if you guys have any questions from like how do you make this to what our favorite butter is.
Yeah, that's what I pitched earlier.
We are totally open to any questions. So do you guys have anything to start off with?
You can scream at us. That's okay. I will take screams. Or butterscotch candies. I have one butterscotch left. I will also take those.
I've done a lot of armor making so far, and this year I decided to try to take my hand to the golden claw.
Mm-hmm.
And so far I have failed miserably on that. And I'm just trying to find out, do you guys know any good resources of where to get started on actual tailoring?
For me, when I was teaching myself how to sew, I picked up patterns that said like easy to sew patterns and picked those up and read the directions and tried to follow them step by step, and that really helped. From a tailoring aspect, I learned a lot from just taking clothes apart and then changing one little thing about it and then having to put it all back together the exact same way it was. And taking stuff apart, you go, oh, that's how they did that. You know, it actually, you learn so much by taking apart something that's already construction and then having to change something little about it, like taking in the waist or changing the seams on the shoulders or something, and then having to put it back together. So if you have the resources and the time to just kind of do stuff like that, thrifting pieces for costumes is a really cheap way to get into costuming, and that's a great way to learn how to sew because you're doing small little sewing projects that aren't requiring crazy amount of skills. It's a great way to kind of ease yourself into learning how to sew. How did you learn how to sew, Britt?
Well, I actually learned how to sew when I was 12 from my great-grandmother. She had a whole bunch of vintage patterns, which is probably why I have over like 300 in my basement now, because like it turned me into a little bit of a fiend. But that's aside from the point. That's not what you asked. So what she did, and I actually find that vintage patterns give really good directions. The directions are different than what they do now. Like they don't call zippers, they call them slide fasteners. So I had to ask her a lot of questions about these, but they're very detailed. But as far as tailoring in particular is concerned, I do a lot of my own clothes tailoring because nothing fits me. I can't go anywhere without, I can't do it. So what I did is I bought a dress form. And if you turn that stuff inside out and pop it right on the dress form, and if that thing fits you, you can just pin it. And then what I do is I use chalk to dot between the pins, so that way when I take out the pins and I pull it off, I just pin it right back up and start stitching right along that line. Mm-hmm. So that's another way too. And then if you're kind of worried about putting permanent stitches in, you can always base stitch. Do you know what base stitching is? They're very long, loose stitches that you don't seal at the ends. So that way when you're done, you can just pull it out. Like a lot of ruffles are made that way, so that way you can gather along that basting stitch. Mm-hmm. So that's another good way to not leave a permanent mark in what you're doing, to see what maybe a real stitch there might actually look like. So basting is... I'm great, thank you for asking! But yeah, that's... I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. But yeah, that's a really non-permanent way to kind of play with your clothes, or even go to like Goodwill or other thrift shops and find something that you don't care if you ruin it, and then like buy a shirt for $1, tear it up, and then, you know what I mean, kind of play with it that way. But that's another way to do it.
There's also a lot of great resources online. YouTube is great when there's like a technique that I maybe don't remember how to do or don't know how to do, period. I Google it and look it up on YouTube, and being able to have that resource is amazing. So, like, because I know when I first started cosplaying, like, YouTube, what was YouTube? So,
yeah.
But there was another question over here. Yes.
What are your guys' favorite cosplays you have?
Oh, geez, that's asking like,
what is your favorite child?
What is your favorite movie? What is your favorite band? But for me, it's a kind of a combination. I choose most of all my characters I choose are based off of the fact that I love that character. Like either I play that game, watch that anime, etc. So they're usually my favorite characters. So I get very attached to the characters I cosplay. But up there, I really like my alien huntress from Skyrim. That was one of the few ones where I had this vision of what I want to look like in my head. and I took my time and was actually able to create exactly what I saw in my head. So I'm pretty proud of that one. I also really like wearing Lilith from Borderlands. I love Borderlands a lot. And I'm also a big Naruto fan, so I really like doing my Naruto stuff. So like that's more of it. It's not because it's a cool costume or anything. It's more of like I get to wear them with my friends and we get to geek out about something that we really love, and we get to go around and like take stupid Snapchats and stuff like that, and go to other cosplayers that cosplay from Naruto. Like, oh my god, you cosplay from Naruto, let's take a picture, you know? Silly stuff like that. So like, I have different ones that I love for different reasons, so.
For me, okay, so my goal every time I make a new costume is to make something in that costume that I've never done before. So that way, I'm constantly adding to my skill set. So, like, I'm working on Mega Gardevoir right now, and I never worked with thermoplastics, so I made her mask, like, out of thermoplastics, because I'd never done it. So everything is special to me in that way, because I learned something from everything that I've made. But my Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman is probably one of my favorites, because I made the bodysuit, I made the corset, I did all the hand stitching myself, while watching, like, 6 episodes of Arrow. So, you'd be surprised how long those little individual stitches take. So I got a lot of Arrow done in that time. Otherwise, I watched like Lieutenant Joe Kenda. Well, I don't know, and nobody here probably knows what that is, but it's a detective show. It's aside from the point. So the Catwoman is probably one of my favorite. Squirrel Girl that I do, just because of the reaction I get from people when I wear it. Like little kids, like go nuts. Like, yeah, you see what I did there? Come on, guys. Come on, there we go. So, like, I'll have little girls that come up to me and, like, one would not let me put her down for, like, 5 minutes. I don't know if it's because I was, like, fuzzy and warm or something. I mean, she is a nanny, so it makes sense that, you know, kids would want to be near her. But, so the squirrel is fun for that reason. And then my Sith is really cool to wear. It's, like, say I'm feeling, like, particularly moody, flash on that lightsaber and everybody parts like Moses in the Red Sea. So, so I can be moody in that one, you know. I get to embody these people for a day and let that bit of my personality kind of flare out. Like Squirrel Girl, I could be quirky and nutty, and, you know, Sith, I can be moody and angry, and then, you know, Catwoman, I get to be feisty.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I wear that, like, somebody will be like, hey, Britt, let's go do this. And I'm like, I'm a cat, I don't do that. Like, they were doing, like, the electric slide. It came on, they're like, hey, Britt, let's go do the electric slide. I'm like, I'm a cat, I don't cha-cha. So, like, it's just, you know, I just bring up stupid stuff, and that's just kind of what I do with it. So, yeah, they're like babies. Like, it's hard to choose, like, one favorite, because there's a reason that you made that costume in the first place. Mm-hmm. So, that makes it difficult. But, yeah. Who's next? There we go. Yes, I want candy. Do you have, oh my god, you have candy.
Look at this.
Sweet Jesus.
This is a true host, man. Bringing candy. So what type of candy did you bring us beside? I see Twix. What is the Menji? It's panda. Oh, is it the little chocolate pandas?
No,
what?
It's like panda crackers with the strawberry filling.
Can I take
Alright, I'm
two?
gonna try this. I feel like this is almost like you have to try this on the thing so you guys know exactly what we're eating. Any other questions while I'm slowly opening this thing?
Yes.
All right, so oh, I know what these are. So there's a little picture of a panda on it. I don't know if you guys cannot see that. I apologize.
Oh, I see the panda.
Yeah, a little picture of a panda.
Oh my gosh. We should have done a 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
We
was
can do
really
it on the next
hungry.
one, like we never ate this one. It'll be like it never happened.
So it's like a little. It's okay.
This is interesting.
Yeah. It's like a strawberry cream. That's delicious.
Yeah.
That's actually really delicious.
I don't have a Meyer near me. I'm gonna have unfulfilled dreams now when I go home.
Target.
I don't have a Target.
Oh, jeez.
I live in the middle of a farm community. We're screwed. Okay? We're screwed.
Amazon?
Amazon. I do have Prime.
I do everything off Amazon because I'm
Amazon
in the middle of
Prime,
nowhere,
right?
too. Yeah.
Also J-List.
What's J-List?
J-List is
It's a
amazing.
website full of Japanese.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm learning so many things today.
Yeah, J-List is great.
You guys should be up here at the mic. Also, like, where did you buy this? Where am I getting more of these?
I peruse J-List and Ami for new figures because I'm kind of a figure fiend. So
Yes.
and so they're like, when the figures of my waifus are coming out, I get to know.
I think one of the last things I ordered off Amazon was a 5-pound bag of dried cantaloupe.
That doesn't sound like a bad thing.
It was really okay. So I got some at this Denver airport. Like they had this. It was like Simply Fruity and Nutty or whatever.
So is it chewy?
Yes, but okay. So the original stuff I had was more like a jerky type chew, but it was still soft and super sweet. So I'm like, 5 pounds of it. Who can go wrong? It's not quite the same, and I'm very disappointed.
That's the worst. When you order something from Amazon, you're like, yes, it's mine. And then you get it, and you're like, oh, well, crap.
I opened up the bag and it smelled so good, and I was so pumped. And it's like the bag's, I'm not kidding, the bag is this tall and like this wide. And my mom made so much fun of me when she saw it. She's like, what is that? I'm like, cantaloupe? I mean, it's still good. It's just not a whole good.
Yes.
I mean, you guys have done a lot of different comments. It's happened to me twice now where I've made something and I got so focused on form over function that I actually go to use it and it doesn't work.
That happens a lot. There's a lot of times where I make something, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna work, it's gonna work, it's gonna be great. And then I do it and then it doesn't work and I go, oh, well, all right, plan B. So, luckily now, the more you cosplay, the more you go through that problem-solving skills. And slowly you build a toolbox to where you have resources and ways to make things that you know for sure work. And so when you go to actually start making something, you're like, okay, I know that way doesn't work and that way doesn't work, but this way works. Let's go with that way. So that way when you start getting a little bit further along, you don't have as much of a learning curve when you're building something. So like the first time I was doing armor, I had no clue what I was doing. But now, like now that I've made quite a few armor sets, it's a lot easier. I know what type of shapes I need to do. Luckily with like armor, a lot of female armor, they have really similar shapes and like basic silhouette shapes. So it's easy to kind of use the same patterns I already have and just go through and do that. But yeah, I definitely, perfect example with what you happened. I have a Grace costume from Soulfire, and I fly with almost all my costumes. So I have to think of like, okay, how can I break a huge thing of 4 wings down into a suitcase and be able to assemble it there? And I like made this ingenious way, at least I thought it was ingenious at the time. And I put it together and it worked, I worked at home. I get to the convention and it didn't work. So at that time you're kind of like, oh, well, all right, we'll wear the costume, but no wings, I guess. So and then I had to go back to the drawing board and figure out a new way to make it to where they can collapse, but still actually sit the way they're supposed to sit.
See, I had that problem when I made my cat suit for Catwoman, I made it out of PVC because I didn't want to do the vinyl. I didn't want to glue it. I wanted to stitch it because if I put in the hand stitches, it would have poked holes in the whole thing, and you can't do that with like latex. So I wanted it to be something I could stitch into. So after that, I got like this PVC kit. I'm like, I'm gonna make everything out of PVC. This is sweet. So I went to make Starfire out of PVC. Don't do it. No. It came out so bad. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, this is evil. Threw it into the wall and walked away. It just, the way the PVC worked with the way I had set up the original, because I drafted the whole pattern. Like, I put it onto my mannequin, and I just straight drew onto the mannequin, like, where I needed my seams and everything. It did not agree with it. It just, like, once you, it just, oh, it was not good.
Yeah.
No. There's certain, you realize that certain fabrics you just can't do. And I thought I was going to be, like, PVC queen. And, like... That changed very
You're like,
quickly.
my dreams are dashed.
That's exactly how I felt. After I'm buying like $100 worth of PVC, I'm like, I'll find something else to make this stuff out of. Whatever.
I use a lot of like leather and PVC for straps. You always need straps for stuff. For belts and whatnot. So, but
that's what I'll use.
Actually, I learned quickly, that light metallic spandex, don't use it. Please don't use it. It looks great the first time you wear it, but like, I had 3 costumes, superhero costumes, bear in mind, that I had like accents of the white metallic spandex. And I, would take it and fold it very gently and put it away into its little box, and I go and pull it out, and then just by it touching, like, it's in my house, so it's like, it's temperature controlled. It doesn't get too hot, it doesn't get too cold. And the color from whatever color the rest of the suit is always bleeds on the stuff. So like, yesterday, I pulled out my friend Captain America that I was supposed to wear tomorrow, and I'm like, oh no, the red has blood all over the white. No! And so I pulled out, like, okay, we're gonna save this, we're gonna save this. So first I like laid it down and I like tried to clean it with a magic eraser and soap and detergent and everything, that didn't work. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just put some like high gloss acrylic paint over it to hide it. That didn't work. Quickly wipes off of it. And I go, you know what?
She wasn't ready.
I know, and well, you know, bleach always seems to work, so I put bleach on it, and I was like, well, it's already white, it's no biggie deal, and so, but the bleach stained the fabric yellow, so now it looks like my dog had an accident all over it. Ironically, though, I had like an orange towel that it was laying on. There's like some of the bleach fell on the towel, and it's bright white. I'm like, of course, you bleach the towel that is burnt orange white. But the white, you won't make white. So, lesson learned, it's done with every single costume. I've had white metallic spandex on. I will not use that material again, no matter how nice it looks. So,
Halloween store.
yeah.
Our Captain America costumes have that same problem with the red leading to the white.
Well, you guys have to just damage them out, I guess? Oh, that's
The
unfortunate.
other damage ever was Captain
Yeah.
I'm glad I made that corset out of cotton now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was the waist cincher corset part.
Yeah,
Got stained.
that was the first corset I ever made.
Yeah. So now at least I know how to make corsets better. That one was just kind of like a fancy glorified belt. So now I'm like, oh, now I can know how to make like nice corsets, so I can make it look pretty. There was a question in the back. Yes. It was you. Yes, you. Like a big hood, like a Sith hood?
Like a Sith hood? Let's talk about Sith hoods.
Go to like a point? Like a link hood? Well, almost every single hood is going to have a seam down the center. For something like that, generally you can make the silhouette of what it looks like and then sew it together, but the openings, they're not going to be, this is really hard to describe without drawing it out. The opening where the face is not going to be necessarily round. It's going to be a little bit more arched, so you can kind of arch around your face. If you want it to actually stick out, you can also stick like some wire in there. Like, I don't know what the design is, but if it does stick like straight out, then I would put like some wire. Like my cat tail has wire in it, so it kind of like does the little cat thing. That's probably how I would start off doing it with the hood. Hoods are tricky. Hoods are very tricky. I can tell you about magical space hoods from Kasumi from Mass Effect. Like, that was hell. Like, that was hood hell. So, I want to say you could probably, if you look at some different patterns, have you looked at any patterns and stuff? Is there anything even close? A couple of them? I want to say some of the cape patterns might have that pointy hood. I think the Star Wars pattern, I forget if it's McCall's or Simplicity that's put it out. It's one of the two. And I want to say one of their hoods comes out into a point. So maybe you can look at that one and kind of like, okay, this is what the shapes look like, and I can kind of reconstruct it from
Lord
there.
of the Rings or something like
Do
that.
they have, is that the Lord of the Rings pattern?
They might have something like
It's
that
either
too.
Lord of the Rings or the Star Wars.
I would not be
pattern.
surprised if you were able to get on YouTube and literally search for somebody showing you exactly how to make it.
Yeah.
You can literally find anything on YouTube these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You could
so-
probably Google link hood tutorial, and it looks like a link hood.
Also, if you look up fairy hoodies,
There you
they're all
go.
over Etsy and stuff.
Huh.
Same kind of like.
Yeah.
There you go. See, wealth of information right here. We weren't able to answer the question. Wonderful people in the audience who have the knowledge. Thank you. Thank you, wonderful person with blue hair. It's a very beautiful blue, by the way. Any further questions? Yes. My eye makeup? A lot of eyeliner. For me, like, I use liquid eyeliner, and actually, I'm really cheap. I get this stuff from Daiso. Do you guys have Daiso out here? Okay, yes. So it's a little pink, like, sparkly bottle. I don't know which one, I think you probably know. If you've been to a Daiso, you will know which one I'm talking about. But basically, I'll just line right next to my lashes first, and then I'll mark where I want the actual point to be, like out here. and then I'll draw the line straight down to my eye, and then I will take the liner from here and go straight this way, and then fill in the center part. And then down here, I'll kind of line the bottom line with like my black eyeshadow first to kind of give me a guide, and then I will go through with the liquid liner and then put it on top. So that's kind of, it took a lot of practice to kind of do it. So I just kept practicing different shapes, because sometimes I have some friends where they don't look good with high cat eyes out here. Like some of them look better with some of lower points, so you just kind of have to play to see what point looks good on you. I just tried a bunch of different ones until I liked it's like, oh, okay, I liked how I did my makeup in that photo, and I try to recreate that at that point. So, does that make sense? Okay. I'm like, I hope that makes sense, because it's kind of hard to describe how to do makeup when you're not actually doing it. So, yes.
What's the most kind of involved or complex thing you've made?
Oh, jeez. Recent or like ever? Ever? Do you have one?
No, I can totally.
Yeah,
do
why don't you
this
go
right
first,
now.
and then I'm going to think about this one, because I have a couple of contenders, and I need to evaluate which one was more complicated.
So I watched the movie Black Swan. How many of you have seen it? Good number of you, okay. So like, I really liked her white costume and I really liked her black costume, but the thing was, I was not gonna make two different costumes. Like, I just wasn't happening. So I got the ingenious idea to split it down the middle, to do white on one half and black on the other half. So, at first I was really intimidated about making an overbust corset, because I only made underbust at that point. So like, I went to somebody who was selling corsets, I'm like, I need, half white, half black. And they're like, okay, well, you're gonna have to buy two corsets. I'm like, no, I want one half white and one half black. They're like, oh, we don't make them. I'm like, fine, I'll make my own. So I went home and I drafted up the corset pattern. It took me 3 drafts to make the appropriate shape. And then once I got the pattern down, I started making the whole thing. The shell took me 40 hours. And then all the hand stitching took me another 40 hours. So the black side is just black satin, but on the white side, I wanted to look more bridal-esque, like more innocent. So I put like just really pretty lace over it, and then I put feathers over the top over here, and then back over here, I did, and this was all freehand, so I'm really surprised it came out this way, so I just kind of let it do its thing. But I used horseshoe crystals, and I put a sequin underneath them, and I hand stitched them all in individually, and it ended up looking like a swan wing. And then but it cascades down the back to the bottom of the corset. All the feathers were hand stitched in. And then on the right hand side, I really liked Daenerys's blue dress that she kind of wore when she was freeing you guys know what I'm talking about, the blue dress. And as she's going through the episodes, the dragon scale gets bigger and bigger. So I really liked the dragon scale. So I was looking that up one day, and then I saw what the reverse of it looked like, and it was kind of netted and just really tangled. And so I'm like, that would be perfect for the black side of my swan. So what I did is I patched it over the top over here, and then I had feathers coming out of it. And then I took tulle and hand stitched the tulle on, and I burnt the edges of it. So it would look kind of crispy and damaged. And then I did something similar in the back with black crystals, but in black sequins. So all of that hand stitching, that piece, that little chunk that I got from doing the dragons go backwards was this big, and it took me 7 hours to do, individually, it was crazy, but it was totally worth it. I made the tutu from scratch, which, playing with that much tulle, never again. Having to iron all of those little tiny pieces out, because I started off, the underlayer is this long. So trying to iron all those little pieces and sew them together and then stitch them around, because it's not just all white. No, I had to be complicated, make it white and black. So all of those had to be perfectly measured, so that way they were perfectly half and half. And all the way up, because the whole thing cascades out like this, so that way it's a pancake tutu. And that was a pain. And then I decided, well, I'm gonna make the tiara. Oh wait, I need to make half of a tiara. So then I got a headband, and I got jewelry wire, and I framed it. I created the skeleton, I guess, and then I took polymer clay, and got it as warm as I could, so that way it mashed, and I just crumped it onto it, so that way it looked dirty and ragged. And then baked it, pulled it out, satin glazed it, and then put crystals onto it. I'm like, oh wait, she needs the white thing for that side of her head. Is this project ever going to end? So then I made that part too, and And to this day, even though I've worn that costume like 10 times, I still have to hold the corset up to myself so that way I know which makeup is half and half. Am I putting the black over here, the black over here? So it's like my nightmare to get my makeup done and find out that the black eye stuff is on the wrong side. So that means the whole face has to come off because like I will do a lighter blush on the white side and a darker blush on the black. The whole thing, I literally like 2 faces. So that costume took me forever.
Yeah.
I wanted to die while making it, and like many tears were sobbed. That has many tears of mine in it. But God, I love that freaking thing. I'm so glad I finished it. It was so totally worth it now.
So I have 2, because they're 2 completely different types of builds. One, the Alien Huntress, back to that one again. That one was the first time working with thermoplastic and building that type of armor. First time working with actual full leather, because the whole costume is made out of leather, and I had to make a bodysuit out of leather that was not a normal bodysuit. It's really complicated, it's weird. And then all the chainmail I made from scratch as well. So my boyfriend, we got the wire and he helped me coil the wire and clip all the rings, and I sat there and watched, I think I watched almost all the Star Wars movies and all the Lord of the Rings movies and weaved my chainmail. But the other one, similar to Britt's story that I just did recently for Fandom, I made a Sakizo costume. And I don't know if people are familiar with Sakizo designs, but they're intense. The artist draws these women in these beautiful, elaborate gowns with details that you can't look at the one picture and see all the details on one thing. They have huge headdresses, huge dresses full of ruffles and corsets and everything. I actually have part of it down in display of the thing, but I have... I spent probably, I don't know, 2 months making it, and I spent almost a week just making ruffles. Ruffles. It was insane how many ruffles I had to make for that dress. And then like the corset, like that was the first time doing like a cupped corset and everything like that. And then all the beadwork on there was actually took the fabric, so I bought this beautiful piece of beaded fabric, but then I had to cut it out and then hand stitch all around on the corset, because I don't, obviously you don't want to glue something like that. But then like there was wings, and then there was horns, and then there was like these crazy garters, and then there was this giant headpiece. Like she has this long black hair, and then she has this headpiece thing, I don't know what to call it. It looks like a pile of curls on the top of her head. So what I ended up doing is I took a styrofoam ball, hollowed it out, cut it in half, and then covered it in felt, then covered it in curls, like taking the curls and slowly like laying them on there and then hand stitching the curl around it so it's completely covered in curls. And then took another thing of pre-made curls and held it hang down the back. And then she had a crown on top of that here and then here. Had to construct that, so it has like this, I don't know what is it, lace and a bunch of crap all over it. I don't know, it's just a bunch of crap. And then she has a veil that goes down the back as well. So I have like this giant thing on my head with horns and then more hair on top of that. And then these wings, and I'm wearing like 6-inch heels with platforms, so like I cannot function. And then she has gloves, and there's crap all over the gloves, and like this crazy neck piece and everything. That was one costume that I probably, the most time I've spent on in a really long time, because most of the time my builds are usually maybe about 2 to 3 week builds max. Like generally mine are like a week. Maybe that's kind of what I give myself. So like being able to sit down and spend I started in February, and I was still in the hotel room sewing effing ruffles on this dress. So like that tells you how much time and how much dedication it took to build that. So that dress was a beast. I told my friends, I call this Black Beast because it's gonna kill me, and it's all black. All colors are all black on it. And so anytime anyone sees it, like, oh, that's the Black Beast, isn't it? I'm like, gosh dang it.
Don't you have those moments though, like when you're looking at it and it's right before you're getting ready to do the next step and you're like, I don't want to touch it, I'm afraid to touch it because I'm afraid I'm going to ruin it. Mm-hmm. When I started on the swan corset, after I got all the lace and all that stuff on there and I was getting ready to put in those crystals, I'm like, I don't want to do this because I'm going to screw it up, I'm going to mess it up, I'm going to mess up something that looks pretty. Yeah. I'm like, because you go through that little bit of a struggle with it too at the same time. Oh yeah, I hesitated on pulling the gun on actually starting on the ruffle skirt train dress thing, because basically there was so much fabric that went into this. There was over 100 yards of fabric that I purchased in between tools and lace and trims and actual fabrics for the dress.
that I'm like, okay, if I don't do this right the first time, I'm screwed. I have no more money to spend on this. I don't have any more supplies. I have a one-shot chance. I have just enough fabric to actually do this. So like I spent so much time sitting there like drawing it out and drawing out other scenarios. Like, well, what if I made it this way? What happens if I made it this way? Phone calls to my friend who also makes costumes. Heather, I'm second guessing myself again. Can you like help me through this? You know, she like would sit there and like talk me down. I was like, Mel, you've already gone through this. We've already discussed this. I know, but just reassure me that I'm on the right path here. So like there was also like that emotional investment into the costume besides just like, oh yeah, I'm sewing, you know. So
You're always worried about screwing it up.
always, even till this day.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't mess it up.
Yes?
Have you guys ever had to abandon the costume just because it got too costly or too much time?
I haven't. I don't quit. That's quitter talk.
There's been a couple where I'm working on it, and then like the deadline I want to wear for the con is close, and like, you know what, I don't want to rush this. So then I'll take it and I'll stop working on it because I don't want to just like throw it together, and I'll put it aside. And there's 2 of those that I've done that with. I've done it to more, but I actually went back and finished it. But there's 2 right now that I haven't done that with, and it's not necessarily like a lack of money. It's more like a lack of time right now to sit down and finish it. I have a Daenerys that I've been working on for like 2 years, but it's like literally like half done. So it just kind of sits there. I'm like, well, maybe one day I'll have a pretty Daenerys costume. And I remember like for fandom, like, oh, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna finish that Daenerys costume, wear it to Wizard World. And then like Wizard World came close, I'm like, no, not with all this AX stuff I need to prep for, that's not gonna happen. So yeah, I have a couple. There was another one where, again, it was getting close to the convention, and like everything I was making was just not turning out right, and I was like, I'm not happy with this. I mean, it looks okay, but to me it wasn't to my standards, so I'm just like, no, this is a nope. This is a nope. So I remember in my early days, I would be very hardcore. I was like, no, I need to finish this. I need to wear it. And I would cut corners and just kind of like, you know, at the end just throw it together, and I would be very unhappy with it. Now I've kind of learned, like, it's not the end of the world if I don't finish a costume for that specific convention. Like, there's going to be another convention. There's going to be another show. You know, there'd be another time to wear it. Like, just because you can't wear it for this specific convention, it's like, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'll wear it again. So to me, it's much better to save my mental health, actually sleep. I'm really bad about not sleeping when it gets close to a convention. Like, I slept 4 hours last night before I came here, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go drive 2 hours to Sacramento. Well, that's fine, you know.
I got 30 minutes of sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you live close?
No, I had to fly from Ohio.
Oh, at least you got to sleep. Did you sleep on a plane?
Oh yeah, I took some Xanax. I was out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you had to sleep on a plane. You had to drive.
But is that really sleep? Yes.
Oh, heck
yes,
yeah.
it was.
Oh, heck yeah. I've taken so many sleeps on planes.
I have to. Like, I can't. I hate planes.
Oh, really?
And I traveled every one of these. I should probably get over that sometime soon.
I don't know. I've gotten so like blasé about air travel. I'm like, oh yeah, another airplane, another airport. Well, you know, is there any sushi at this airport? Is there anything good? Is there anything not McDonald's?
I like the airport things. I keep wanting to go back to Denver for that freaking cantaloupe.
I know. Next time they fly you out to a show, can you have me have a layover in Denver?
I'm gonna have that in like my writer. I'm gonna be like, I need a layover in Denver. Otherwise, no deal. Yeah, I need this dried cantaloupe. I know it's only 8 ounces, but it's totally worth it.
Next time you go, you should just like take note of who actually makes it and contact
I
them.
did. I went to their website and it sold out online.
Oh,
I was
jeez.
so upset.
The world's against you,
It
man.
is. And then like I didn't get Gardevoir done this weekend, and I'm just like,
It's okay. I feel your pain. My PlayStation was broken for 3 weeks. I was very upset.
it's disgusting.
I
I'm
know.
so sorry.
Oh man, it was sucked because so like before Fandom 8, I was really good. So Overwatch came out. You guys, how many people play Overwatch, right? Okay. So like Overwatch came out. Like, I'm gonna be good. I'll play it when I get back from Fandom 8. I don't want to distract myself because it came out like 3 days before Fandom 8. So I'm like, oh, well, I'm not playing that, I guess. And I come home and I sit down and I get all nice and snug on my couch, and I just like re-upped my subscription to Final Fantasy. So I'm gonna play some Final Fantasy. I'm gonna play some Overwatch. It's great. And I load it up and I play for 5 minutes and it crashes. I'm like, oh, what the heck? So I go through all this rigmarole, and then I seriously have done so much troubleshooting on a PlayStation. I feel like a PlayStation wizard. So I can literally switch out hard drives in like 5 minutes. It's fantastic. Like, it's like that fast. I'm like, okay, you're done, you're good, you're ready to go. So, but I just got my PlayStation back, so I'm just kind of like, oh, bless PlayStation. That had nothing to talk about, but
Yeah.
sorry.
You had a question?
Yeah, is there any costume that you've gone to all this trouble and worked on, and then you get to the convention and you put it on and you're like, oh my gosh, it's pouring hot here, I can't possibly wear this to the convention, you know, and had to abandon it at the last minute?
I don't think I've ever had to
I'm
lucky.
Oh my gosh, it's just right here, and I can't stand it.
I've had, but sometimes I've spent so much time on those costumes, that I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna wear it for at least an hour, get a photo of it, have proof, and then take it off. Like, that big dress I was just talking about, I had planned on wearing it for like 5-6 hours. And I'm like, I want so many photos of this thing, it's gonna be great. I put it on, and after 2 hours, I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. Like, the weight from everything on my head, it felt like someone was pushing on my head like this, non-stop for 2 hours straight. Plus 6-inch heels, plus a giant dress, and wing. Of course, yeah, you get the picture. So, I just get stubborn, and I know there's probably times where I probably should not have worn something, but I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. I worked so hard on this. But in cases where it's hot, I try to make sure, I pack those little fans, like you get them at the dollar store, those little personal fans with the batteries and stuff in them, and I take those, because like Anime Expo and San Diego Comic-Con are incredibly hot, and I always overheat at those conventions, so I always make sure to like bring my own water bottle and have it filled all the time, and get one of those fans, so that way I can regulate my body temperature a little bit if it's hot. I've learned now from, like, right, I do a lot of shows where I'm a guest, and so I'm on my feet a lot, walking around, doing panels, being on my table. I get really bad blisters and feet problems from wearing heels for, 12 hours a day. So I've learned now, a lot of times if I know if it's a pair of problem shoes, I take duct tape and I duct tape my toes in my feet and on the bottom of my feet, so that way it protects the actual skin, and I don't have like abrasions and stuff on them. So it actually helps. It sounds really gross and disgusting, like, oh, why'd you put duct tape on your feet? But it's saved my feet so many times.
That's why I incorporate, like, I make sure that I have at least one costume for the weekend where I'm wearing flats.
Yeah.
Like, this costume is typically one where I'll wear boots with it. I'm wearing my blue Converse today because, one, I think it looks adorable, and then two, because flats.
Yeah, that's
like,
exactly.
That's one thing that I, having had our experiences, you learn these little things, like, Sunday, I'm going to be wearing flats, like, period, because Saturday's a long day, we're probably going to be in some heeled costume. Sunday, I don't want to be in heels, but, like, I thought my Catwoman was going to be super hot, like, because it's PVC, like, it's a full-body PVC suit with a corset on top of it, and I wore that to Long Beach, and I'm like, this thing is strangely breathable. Yeah. Either that, I'm Inhuman, one of the two. Yeah. But no, I think my hotel room's 80 degrees right now, so it might be that I'm Inhuman. Maybe it's good. Maybe, yeah. Did you have another question?
Sure. Since we're on the Catwoman costume again, I have to ask, one of the reasons that I gave this is it advertised that you would tell us how to go to the bathroom in our costumes.
Yes, okay, yeah.
That's a very important.
Okay, see, for that one, I didn't have a whole lot of options because it is a full bodysuit, so literally the corset comes off and the bodysuit comes off. But,
you have to totally undress?
Well, for the most part, the corset comes off and then down to the legs. There are some that you just literally, there is no good workaround. Like for the swan and stuff, I can put snaps down in the bottom of it. So that way at the bottom, like you're just pulling down the tights. Nothing else needs to come off, you just lift the tutu. So like that is, if you can do that, put snaps in the bottom like you would for like a baby's like onesie. Like that is the easiest way, both dudes and chicks alike. Like simplest solution right there. But when you get into bodysuits, that's when that gets a little messed up.
Yeah, I have the same problem though. My wizard costume, if I have to go to the bathroom, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be like 40 minutes because I literally have to take almost everything off to go to the bathroom, because there's like, not only is there undergarments, but then it's the tights, and then it's the leotard, and then it's my corset, and then it's my fashion corset over that, and then it's my vest, and then it's the armor all on top of that, and then there's a skirt. I forgot if there's a skirt somewhere in there too. So like for that one, like it's incredibly difficult to get in and out of, so like there's really no workaround. But like what she says, all my Sailor Moon costumes, there's snaps in the crotch, so that way I don't have to take this whole entire dress off. There's also been times where having a handler is really
Or
your
a
saving,
good friend.
or a good friend is a saving grace a lot of times if you're wearing a very difficult costume. I will take a friend, or like my boyfriend is there, or my best friend or someone to help me with a costume, and they will help me like hold stuff, or like unlace corsets or unzip bodysuits and
Can't
stuff.
have any corsets. I've unlaced and helped relace after a bathroom trip.
Yeah. So like it's definitely, and a lot of times we go to the bathroom, there's other girls, even guys in there that are costumers too, and they're like, dude, can you like help me here?
Yeah.
So like I've helped multiple people too, in and out of costumes and bathrooms. So like we've all been there, but snaps are great. Snaps are great. I like skirts. If I have a skirt, I'm like, oh good, I can go to the bathroom in this costume. This is great.
Another thing you can consider too is how long you're planning on being in the costume, and if it's going to be, if you think you might need to go to the bathroom in it or not. Like I'll wear, honestly, I'm just inhuman, okay? I'm just getting to this point. Like I might have to go to the bathroom once while I'm on the con floor, so for me it doesn't really matter. Oh no, I drink plenty of fluids.
Yeah.
Like I had like root beers after root beers.
Yeah.
Like,
My body does
Sprite.
the same thing. When I'm in a costume and on the show floor, it goes into this weird con mode where
it's
I'm
like it knows.
I don't get as hungry, I don't get nearly as dehydrated or anything, and just like know that I don't have to go to the bathroom as much, but
Yeah.
as soon as it comes off, I'm like, all right, I need
Yeah,
to.
it's the strangest thing. It's like
Yeah.
it holds it all in.
Yes.
Same with me, my mind's in combat, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
What am I never to go to the bathroom, never have to go.
I know,
And it's just like once I
right?
get home, that's when it comes.
Thank you. That is exactly what happened.
It's weird. Your body goes into this weird like convention costume mode sometimes.
Yeah,
And you're
one of
like,
my
this
friends
is
came with me to Philly, and like he was going to the bathroom like every hour. I'm like, how do you do that? Like I couldn't force myself to do that if I tried.
Yeah.
Like it just would not happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, snaps though, snaps.
So now that you guys are like doing the forums and the different circuits and stuff like that, are you guys even eligible to continue doing like the competitions and stuff like that? Did you guys judge?
Depends upon the show. Wizard Worlds, obviously, we can't compete at Wizard Worlds. Some conventions say that there's a no professional rule. Others, they don't care. There's been times like when I used to compete a lot at Fandom, and the last time I competed, I was kind of like I was just starting to do shows in a professional sense, so I had like contemplate, like, hey, can I do the thing? But now that I've guested for them, I guarantee they won't let me compete in their show. So basically, if you've gone to a show for them and been there as their guest or worked for them,
Yeah, contests are a no.
you're a no-go. So, but a lot of other smaller ones and stuff, like they don't really care. I know San Diego Comic-Con, I think they're open to it. But they have a different level of professional. They think professional like, oh, if you make movie costumes, you're not really allowed it. So like for them, a lot of times for me, I will just contact them first before I will like make plans to do this giant skit and get people in together and make costumes and stuff. I'm kind of like considering it, and I'll email the coordinator, and that's usually the safest thing to do. It's like, hey, I do this for a living, and, is it okay I compete? A lot of times they'll make it to where like, yeah, you can go into the contest and you can do your skit or whatever, but your exhibition, you're not eligible to actually get an award or a prize or anything like that. And a lot of times they're really cool with that. And they're like, oh, you want to come and like do a performance? Great, that stuff like that.
Which is still cool too, because then you
Yeah.
get to show off your handiwork to people who may not have ever seen anything that you've done, which is still cool.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more question, because I got like the 5-minute warning. Or if you guys can make that super quick, like we can take both of you. Not like that. I'm so sorry. There's not children in here, are there? Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, good. I'm not going to be in trouble. Britt, you've been fired.
Okay, quick question.
What's your favorite anime?
There's Sailor Moon, Outlaw Star, Naruto, Kitty Grey.
You said
and
one.
No, I'm just kidding. That's all I can remember. You watch anime?
I don't watch anime.
Okay. So one more question.
Do you guys make any walls wearing contacts, like vision-wise?
Oh, like this?
Sometimes.
Honestly, I don't really even notice that they're in most of the time unless somebody brings it to my attention. I'm like, oh yeah, I am wearing contacts, aren't I? At most, I see like a little bit of an orange haze, but these are pretty hollow through the middle actually. So my vision is still very good unless I'm like doing something like this and then it's a little skew, but no, they're pretty comfortable.
I've had bad and good experiences. I've had some contacts that are like her, I don't feel they're great. Other ones, like yellow ones for me, for some reason, I cannot find a comfortable pair. Like I can only wear them for a couple hours. I'm like, take these out of my eyeballs. So, and I even went down to the optometrist and made sure I was like buying the right size and fitted and all that jazz, so that way my eyes were protected and they were safe. Please do that. Don't buy contacts without talking to your optometrist. But I still come across some contacts and stuff that are just not comfortable for me. And I like, if it's uncomfortable, take them out.
Don't
Do not wear
push
them.
through it. Don't do that.
So
You'll know immediately if you can do it or not.
Yeah.
Don't suffer through something because you might just end up hurting yourself and it's not worth it.
you only have one pair of eyes.
This is true.
I have friends who've done,
Unless you steal someone else's and then you can have two.
have had bad experience with contacts and stuff. There was actually a real quick recent story where his girlfriend was spraying her wig, and the spray got onto the contact solution bottle, so when he grabbed it, it was on his hands. And so he was cleaning his contact, put his contact in, and it stuck to his eye, and he's now has permanent bad eye damage on his eye. So stuff like that, be aware, especially when you're in a bathroom with lots of other cosplayers, like keep your contact stuff. I keep mine in a little plastic case so that way no one touches it but me. So,
Yep.
I think that's it.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Yeah,
you can
thank
find
you.
us both in the cosplay section. Do you have any panels this weekend?
Yes, I have one more tomorrow. It is at 3:30, I believe. Yes, 3:30. And it's on the foam versus thermoplastics. So I'm going to kind of go with the pros and cons of each on how to use them, what are some good ways to use them, and why, which one is better for what application. So, and it's in this room.
Will you bring examples?
Yeah, I have some armor pieces that I have. I have some raw materials of the actual products I'll be talking about. I don't have a heat gun with me, unfortunately, but I have videos on my phone if we really want to see some videos. So, but it's a pretty thorough panel. Has a lot of pictures and stuff in it too. So.
And tomorrow I have a panel at 2:30 until 3:15. It's how to draft an underbust corset pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through, and this works for both men and women. This is not just females or just dudes. This is both. Like anybody can use this. So I'll walk you through how to make your own custom pattern that's going to fit you amazingly. And then we're both judging the costume contest tomorrow night too.
Yeah,
And that'll be fun. I get feisty on stage. It'll be great. I'll be at my set tomorrow, so I'll get to be nasty.
Oh man, I'm wearing Sarah, so I get to have nice little vampire teeth. So
Yay, we get to be vicious together!
Yes, she's great. She's bubbly, but then you don't want to talk to her because I have like blood coming down my face. It's great.
Yay.
It's great. I only have one eye and I can see out of it, so.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow, all right?
Bye guys, thank you.
I couldn't hear this. I'm like,
These
I'm
are
the
so
worst kind
tasty.
of person.
These are really super tasty.
I know, right? I'm so glad I have them. Why am I putting these back on? I don't need these.
I know, you're done. You're
Ain't
done.
nobody got time for that.
Okay, I want to see your eyes.
Sure. Oh, wow.